Guess I should make sure that's on. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Own the Chaos. If you guys have never been here before, certainly welcome you here. Now, this channel is specifically dedicated to the world of business and finance. It's a crazy and chaotic world out there, and it's my job to help you own it. So welcome to this channel. If you've never been here before, hopefully I earned a thumbs up and a subscription from you. I just want to talk today about some of the trades that I made. Made $1,000. Most of them were green. Some were red too. So, just kind of wanted to go over my thought process and why I traded the things that I traded. And actually, my biggest win of the day was a trade that I don't usually make. And I just weighed the risk reward and said, you know what? Why not take a shot at it and see where it goes? And sometimes that's the reality of it. Sometimes you're willing to risk a little bit more if you have a little bit more. And, it was a little bit outside of my box, but I still ended up, still stuck to my disciplines as far as, understanding how much I wanted to make going into it and, leaving it at that once I made the profit that I did. So, what's up, Miguel? Blade Runner, Nikki, Buffalo Girl. Yeah, Nikki, good to see you, man. And so, yeah, sorry, Nikki. But yeah, good to see you guys. And, it's just, it was kind of really boring all day up until, NXTC happened. Got in, right around $82. Just got in and it halted. So, we'll talk about that one. Made $736 on NXTC. MAXR was another really great trade on positive earnings that I made. BYND, of course, I shorted that, made some money on that, and ended up covering. And we'll get into that as well. AMD, I tried to short this morning. Didn't really work out. $30. $30 in the red. Apple was $14 in the red. And Uber was my biggest mistake. Tried shorting Uber. And I should have shorted it a little bit later. I shorted it too early. Had I stayed in Uber, I would be up a ton right now. And I'm kind of kicking myself for that. So I would have made a lot more money today had I not deviated from my plan. It's like you always know when things are going to die out, when things are going to continue to go down. You look at the pattern, you're saying, this looks pretty bearish to me. I'm going to go short on it. They had terrible earnings. Everything's adding up to, really short this thing. And then you don't stick to the plan. Emotion gets the best of you and you end up selling for a loss. And, when you could have sold for a profit, and sometimes that just happens. But at the end of the day, I still ended up green and I'm still happy with the way that I traded. And that's really what you have to do when you're trading in the stock market. Set yourself goals and tell yourself, I'm setting myself up to make this much, and I'm not willing to take a loss more than this much. So let's just make it simple. If you're trying to make it $500 a day, or maybe it's $500 a week, stick to that plan, and you make that goal, then stop trading. Don't overtrade. Don't trade anymore that week. And then make that goal for the next week until you start to get consistent with it. And then, maybe you want to move that up after you get consistent with that $500 a week. And then you start, gradually getting yourself to $500 a day. And then as long as you stick with that process, you're golden. But the same thing happens when it comes to losses. If you're experiencing a loss and you're telling yourself, okay, my risk tolerance only allows for me to take $100 loss a day. So you take that $100 loss that day and you stop trading. You don't trade ever again that day. And then you just start over the next day. And so it really sounds like it's a simple concept, but it's really hard for people to get their heads wrapped around because you're always trying to fight for the next trade, right? Maybe you missed out on that one and you realize what you did, and so you want to revenge trade, or you get too greedy and you're up $1,000 on that day, and you're like, well, maybe I can make another two or three, and it really doesn't work that way most of the time, unless it's a perfect setup and something that you just really have to have, or that you're super confident in. It rarely ever works to where you start over trading, you start making terrible decisions, or you start revenge trading and you make terrible decisions that way too. So having that discipline, setting that plan, and not going outside of that plan is key. So yeah, I saw NXT was bouncing really nice. What are my thoughts on gold reversal? I can answer that question in just a sec. What's up, Louise? Good to see you, man. Jill, good to see you. Ryan, yeah. All right, so actually, let me take a look at gold. We can take a look at that real quick. Let me share my screen with you, and it's a perfect segue. I will share with you WeTrade HQ. So let's go ahead and pull up gold on WeTrade HQ. We can go ahead and look at GLD, which is the gold future, or yeah, gold ETF. Right now, it's looking like it's just kind of hanging out here at 139. So GLD is the ETF for gold. And anytime we want to take a look at gold, you know, ETF, something that's cheaper than obviously gold itself, you can take a look at GLD. That's one that I would really suggest looking at. But right now, it's at 139. It's holding the support pretty well, Jason, if I'm honest. It should be interesting to see if it actually continues to hold that, though. Right now, it's down a little bit, so we'll see. I would be curious to see if it fills this gap here. If we go to Thinkorswim, we can actually pull up gold futures. And yeah, I mean, it looks like there's some room for some sort of reversal here. Came all the way down to 1480, up at 1483 right now. We'll see if that ends up breaking up over there. It would have to really have a confirmed breakout over, I would say 1485, somewhere around there before I would call that a real reversal. But so far the momentum here doesn't look like it's working out too well for gold. So probably still just a watch, wait, and see right now on that one so far. But yeah, anyways, if you guys have never seen WeTradeHQ.com before, this is a platform where people can come and learn and grow, celebrating each other's success. It's a social platform where people learn how to day trade. And so, whether you've been trading for 5 minutes or 5 years or 50 years, I don't know if we have anybody who's been trading for 50 years. But anyways, we want WeTrade HQ to be the place for you. And it's a great platform. It's absolutely free to join. You can feel free to check it out. Create yourself an account. It's great. We have all kinds of tools and resources to help you become a better trader. Now, NXTC, of course. NXTC came out with news that says, and this really wasn't something that I thought was all that crazy. NXTC came out with news that they were, had positive results in their phase 1 clinical trials. Now, for those of you who are used to trading biopharma type stuff, it's usually not that mind-blowing news. Phase 1 isn't really anything that would cause me to say, oh yeah, I really want to get in on this. It's usually good for a pop, maybe just a quick in and out, a little flip on a day trade. But for the monster move that NXTC had, it was absolutely crazy. Let's go ahead and take a look at this on Thinkorswim real quick. There we go. Oh. Hold on. Let me share my screen here with you. So Thinkorswim here, when we're looking at this, it went from $23 all the way up to $109 at the highs. Now, this thing has been halted all freaking day, which was insane. I was able to get in between one of the halts around $82. And, for me, it was like, you know what? I'm just going to get in small. We'll see how this goes. I'm not going to try to go crazy on it. But I saw that, it came down just very briefly and then started to shoot back up on that second leg. So I got in between here and, it had an incredible move. The problem with this, though, was that the amount of halts that this had made it really hard to trade. So I told the folks within my mentorship, hey, listen, if you're looking to trade something like this, just understand the risk involved here with it going all the way from $23 all the way up to $109. I caught it in between here. And if you guys see Blade Runner mentioned that NXTC is bouncing a little bit. It looks like it's actually starting to form a cup and handle pattern here on the 5-minute chart. We'll see if this actually ends up continuing to go. Looks like right now it's starting to break down a little bit, but we'll see. But anyways, this is a quick in and out for me. I made $700 total. I was up. This is how crazy this is. I was up $1,200 at one point on this, but because being in between the halts of this thing, it was really scary stuff. I still sold profit on the way up in between the halts, but it still didn't allow me to really, plan my trade the way that I wanted to because of all the crazy halts on this thing. So I think the setup here, as far as share structure is concerned and the amount of volume that came in, was really what I was looking after. Shout out to Blade Runner for bringing it to our attention in the first place. I really hadn't looked at it until he happened to say something. So it was just an amazing trade, and it's one of those rare instances where it's kind of like don't try this at home type of thing. So NXTC definitely a great trade for sure. Now with MAXR came out with really positive earnings, had a really nice move up, and if you look at this daily chart, I mean, it's just all it does is keep going up. Incredible stair stepper pattern here on this thing. I'm sorry, this is the 30-minute chart. Incredible stair stepper pattern on MAXR, and I was able to get in on the dip here around 1098. This looked like it had a good support. Was able to confirm that this still had a continuation here. Shouted this out to my folks within the mentorship group. Made a nice couple $100 on that one as well. And then I'll let you know about one of the mistakes that I made. And so this was on Uber. So Uber came out with poor earnings. And, I told folks, hey, listen, if this breaks down below this area here, which I drew this line of support around 2870, I think this is going to continue to go lower. And so what did I do? It broke 2870 right here on this candle wick. So I said, okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and take a short position on Uber, as I do think it's going to continue to go down. Well, and then it pops right back up. So I got squeezed out, and I should have just stuck with my plan. Because now I would have had a very profitable trade, because of course it was going to. It broke that support, and so kept on going down. It now has a low of $28, so I could have made a really nice profit on Uber had I just stuck to my plan and stuck, not worried about the emotion of it. But it is what it is, and still at the end of the day, I was able to make some profit, and I can't be upset about that. I'm still green on the day. Can't get myself worked up over, things like that. So, is what it is, and that's how it goes sometimes. But really wanted to kind of go live and just let you know about exercising that discipline, and that even though I made that red trade and it was kind of like a bonehead trade that I was like, man, I'm kicking myself here. It's one of those things where I'm still sticking to a plan. I'm still sticking to my principles of like, okay, I want to make this amount of money today. I'm not willing to take more of a loss than this number. And usually for me, I don't like to take any more of a loss than around $200, $250. If I take more than that, then I'm done for the day. I'm not trading anymore, because I know that I'm going to start to get in my own head, and then, it's never going to end well as far as that's concerned. On the flip side, if I'm over $500 on the day, I usually end up stopping. With NXTC, it was one of those things where it just kept on going, and I was just trying to get out at that point. And the other trade with MAXR and BYND, those are kind of like icing on the cake. It wasn't taking an obscene amount of risk, and I knew I wasn't over trading, but I was just happy with making over $500. And like I said, the rest of it was just extra. I locked in profit at $500 and then let the rest of it ride out, and then that's why I ended up with some extra cheddar for the day. So as long as you stick to those principles, you're really headed in the right direction when it comes to day trading in the stock market, and really it really comes down to that. And it sounds like it's simple, but it's way easier said than done. And that's why we have the mentorship that I go live with folks in the morning and just kind of like let them know what my plan is. They see me practice what I preach every single day, and it's not just in the morning. I'm with them all throughout the day as well, within our chat group. So if you guys want to go check that out, links are down in the description below. I'd be happy to have you in there, and a lot of the people in there can also attest to that as well. So yeah, more like knowing when quarter profits are due. I mean, that's part of it. Um, Chris says, I like your method. This advice helping me through profitable. Glad I found you guys. A little more profit. I'm getting into your mentorship. I'd be happy to have you, Christian. Yeah, anytime. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. I think my email is in the description as well. Or you can, reach out to me. I'm all over social media. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you as well. So that's what it's all about, my man. All right, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did well today, leave me some comments below if you're watching this at a later time. I'd certainly want to hear from you. And that's going to do it for me. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I will see you all before the bell. MB Smith is out. Have a good one.